John, I got a question.
Let's go, dude.
Well, it's not really a question, it's kind of a statement, but
Let's do it.
I feel like my issue right now is trying to not necessarily convince them that they need it, but try to get them to understand why exactly they need it. Because, like, sometimes I'm very blunt, almost too blunt. And I'm like, look, and I just tell them how it is. And because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the reality. Some people don't like to accept the reality, but I'm like, look, if you pass away, does your son have 10,000 to bury you? Yes or no? No. Okay. Would you agree that this policy would help take care of that problem for you? Yes. I just don't know if I can do it right now. Like, sometimes you can't help the people, but I'm wondering if there's a way I can maneuver and maybe word it differently to make them process it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta ask.
Like, you can't force someone, obviously, but.
Oh, go ahead, John. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, you do it, dude. That's all you, Hadley.
I was just gonna say you can't ask people yes or no questions.
Open-ended.
If you ask somebody, does your son have you $10,000 to bury you? That's a yes or no, and it's a dull answer. Can you explain to me what it would look like for your son in the event you died today? And then, does this make sense? Having this coverage, it's a yes or no question, but can you explain to me what this coverage is going to do for you if we put this $10,000 in place today? And that's going to force the words out of their mouth, saying from her, like, well, I guess my son
versus me trying to explain it to them, they would be explaining it.
So what does it look like? Can you explain to me? Can you elaborate? Can you shed some light on what we talked about? Can you tell me what we've covered this far and what this is going to do for you? Those are all great questions, but any yes or no questions, there's just going to be no emotion coming out of them. And
100%.
a sale is the transfer of an emotion. And if you can't transfer that emotion, there's a big block there. There's only the two infuse, the absolute 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 that are just lay downs that are going to be your clients. You're going to miss that other 4 or 5 people out of 10 that could potentially be helped by you if you would have withdrew the emotion out of them.
100%.
Yeah, solid. And so that's the thing too, is that understanding that once you get into the conversation, you should be closing 70 to 80% of your deals. This business is way too easy. It is all emotion driven, just like every sale. And so if you're not at that point, it's because you're not expanding that gap. And like Hadley said, those yes or no questions, there's nothing wrong with asking 1 or 2, but the problem is that yes, no does not hurt. Does that make sense? Like I always say, you're trying to get the oh shit look. And although you're on the phone, it's like, dude, I got to get the oh shit look before I talk about numbers, or there's no deal. And yeah, you're going to get the laydowns. You're going to close 20%, 30%. And I know our previous place preached on finding the laydowns, but it's like, dude, why not close 80%? Because you're not doing anything wrong by selling people life insurance. Like when I was selling cars, I felt bad for selling cars because I had to screw you over to win, or you had to screw me over to win. Whereas with life insurance, it's like, dude, we go hand in hand and there's no screwing anyone over. Worst case scenario is I convince you to get more life insurance and you just helped your family more, right? So understanding that the difference between conviction and sales is just the fact that you believe in the product that you're giving, right? So yes, no questions are very surface level. And the problem is that a lot of people try to get as quickly to, like, I hate when people brag, dude, I'm in and out the house in 20 minutes. Cool. And your chargeback ratio is probably significantly higher than mine. Why? Because I can convince anyone to do anything. The problem is I don't want those chargebacks. We're not here for payday loans. So I think one, what David said, yes, your yes, no questions need to stop. You need to ask, hey, walk me through what it looks like. So, hey, does your son have $10,000 to bury you? Hey, walk me through what would happen if you were to pass away. How does your son get your burial taken care of? Oh, he's got $10,000. Okay, and do you think your son spent those years saving that $10,000 to put you in the ground, or do you think that's more of your responsibility? So that's being blunt without saying, hey, you know you need this, right? So walk me through what it looks like. Hey, can you expand on that? Can you explain what it looks like if you were to pass away? What does your son have to do, right? Not, hey, does your son have $10,000? Yeah, now what? Now you just back to, oh shit, okay. You know what I mean? But if you say, hey, walk me through what that looks like, okay, right? So getting them, and so the biggest thing, what changed sales for me is figuring out, like I said earlier in the training, there's nothing I can say that's more powerful than you can say. So although I can make a statement, or how do I ask a question to get you to make the statement I want you to make? because that's the key in being really good at sales, is getting you. Because if I tell you it's opinion, if you tell me it's fact, right? So what questions can I ask to get you to tell me that your children are fucked if you were to pass away, right? Your spouse is screwed if you were to pass away. I can tell you that, or I can get you to tell me that. Which one holds more water in your decision? Because dude, I can tell you all day long why you need life insurance. That doesn't mean you're going to let go of $200 a month. But if I get you to keep telling me why you need it, now that value of $200 starts dropping, right? And the value of this life insurance starts raising, right? Because when value exceeds price, you have a deal, right? Like everyone knows that. And if you don't, now you do. You're welcome. But right, so your job is to make the value exceed the price, which is the solution needs to be more pleasant than the problem. The problem has to be more painful than the solution. And that's why. And I think by answering yes or no questions, we don't get that grittiness out. Like and I think a lot of times is we don't like putting people in awkward situations, and we don't like being in awkward situations, but screw that. Like get in there and get them, dude. Like if you get people to tear up and cry, you know, you've hit a chord to where your deal's done. You know what I mean? So it's like getting them to expand on a yes or no. Yes or no's means nothing to me, right? I need you to explain to me, walk me through. And that's why I tell people, be naturally curious. What do you mean by that? No means no, but why, right? So if you're naturally curious about people, if you naturally care, if you're convicted, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier today, and I was like, dude, your problem is you don't believe in the product. Like because sales is just selling there's a lot of things it is, but it's transferring conviction, like who's right, who's wrong, right? So if you don't believe in what you're selling, you can't sell it, dude. Because that's why I told you guys a few weeks ago, it's like, dude, if you don't have life insurance, how the hell are you going to convince me to buy life insurance? For one. For two, if you don't even see value in the life insurance for yourself and budgeting yourself for life insurance, you can have all the excuses not to have life insurance. Sideline not being able to be approved for it, obviously. But if you don't have life insurance, if you don't see the value in something, why are you trying to sell it, right? And so that's a lot of times people's biggest problem in our industry, is that they know that we can make a lot of money doing so, but you know who makes a lot of money doing so? The people that are convicted. They understand the purpose of this. That's why when you get your first death claim, things switch. When you call your first lead and they say, oh no, he passed away last week, things change. Because you're like, oh shit, I do need to help these people. Like, this is my job. Because when you talk to somebody, like, I don't know how many people here have gotten death claims yet, but when you talk to a crying spouse, dude, it's hard. We were literally in the process of moving an annuity a couple months ago, and the wife called me and said, hey, I'm not going to say his name, but passed away last night. What do we, you know what I mean? And that had nothing, they didn't have life insurance. They couldn't, but like the process of it, like it's a totally different feeling. So it's like, if you don't even believe in the product yourself, I think it's hard to press people on doing it. If you can't convince yourself, if you can't sell yourself on something, how the hell do you expect to sell someone else?